according to sources. Kyle Seager, Mariners third baseman, big day for third baseman. Woo. Nearing a 7-year, $100 million extension with the Mariners. And Duke, this is a guy, prime of his career, breakout season in 2014, and I think a good deal all around.
Yeah, a career year this year. Good timing for him to do that and for the Mariners really to sign him. I think overall a 7-year deal for where he is in the marketplace at 27 years old. Now you're buying out 3 years of his arbitration and 4 of free agency. So 7 years total. The Mariners really get a good deal on this one, I believe. And, 7 years, again, with a guy like Seager, when you put up those type of numbers at Safeco, that's hard to do. You do back-to-back-to-back 20-plus home run seasons. This year he drove in over 95 runs, of 96 runs total. So all of those things from Seager's standpoint, he was an all-star. He was a Gold Glove member. I mean, he does both sides. He's a both sides of the ball type of player. And so that part of it from the Mariners' perspective, I think, makes a lot of sense. They always have a hard time attracting offensive players to Seattle. They have no problem with pitchers there because it's a pitcher's park. So this is a guy that they developed. It's interesting. They didn't have him on the radar. But if you go back 3 years ago, he was a guy that bounced around to different positions. Now all of a sudden, he's their everyday third baseman, and they're investing 7 years, $100 million. So nice job by Seager to get himself into that position.
Is this a case perhaps where there is so much attention and such an intense spotlight on guys like Robinson, Cano, and Felix Hernandez that a guy like Seager, who's talented, can avoid that spotlight, avoid that scrutiny and that pressure, and just develop on his own terms?
You know what? I think that's a fair point. With Seager in particular, he hasn't gotten a lot of attention. I think mostly because he plays on the West Coast. He plays up in Seattle. And the tendency is you don't get as much attention up there. King Felix has started to do that himself. Seager was flying below the radar. Now, you add Cano to the lineup, and Seager has a career year. That's not by coincidence. Now, Cano had a positive impact in leadership there on the team and with Seager, but also he gave him a little bit of protection, whether he hit in front of him or he hit behind him. Seager was getting a little bit different pitches to hit. So I think that, as soon as you start to surround him, he's that type of talented guy that he can't carry a club, because 2 years ago we saw he had a kind of an okay year, not a great year. But when you add a Cano type, an elite superstar player, now all of a sudden Seager's game becomes, I call him a star now at this point. He was a, say, average player that's turned into a star player in our game after one really, really good season because he got some help in the lineup.